The National Eating Disorders Association estimates 30 million people are affected in the U.S. alone, 2/3 of them women. While research and treatment has long focused on white women, there is a growing movement to raise awareness and increase access to treatment for minority women. And today in a 4x4, we are taking 4 minutes during the 4 to take a deeper look at this topic.
With us now, Dr. Athena Robinson, a licensed clinical psychologist and instructor at Stanford Medical Center. You're also in Stanford's Eating Disorders Research Program. Doctor, thanks for being here with us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Eating disorders been around for a long time. So
Indeed.
Where are the numbers in the minority communities? Where's the research? Why don't we have them?
So it's estimated, as you mentioned, by NIDA and others, that there's about 20 million American women and about 10 million men who suffer from an eating disorder. And research prior to the mid-1990s really did just focus on the kind of the stereotypical group of young white women from a high SES background. Nowadays, though, over the past decade and a half, we are seeing more research on minorities. And interestingly, it is showing that there are indeed eating disorders among this group, and they're not that significantly different from the group of whites. So it is a really important group for us to continue to study and learn more about.
So do these ethnically diverse communities have equal access to treatment at this time? And always have?
Unfortunately, one of the things that the research is showing is that there's statistically significant differences in the amount of service utilization by these ethnic minorities. So specifically, people who have had a lifetime diagnosis of an eating disorder are much less likely to access service and treatment services than their white counterparts.
Okay, we want to bring in Lynn Chin to join the conversation with us from Thick Dumpling Skin. Now, that's a blog about body image and eating disorder recovery geared towards specifically Asian Americans. Lynn, thanks for joining us. Lynn, do you have us?
Thanks for having me, guys.
Lynn, let's
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you. Let's talk about
Hello?
eating disorders within the Asian community and really what help is available.
Well, you know, we feel like we should have the same access as people everywhere else in America. The problem is that a lot of Asian American cultures, getting help, going to a therapist, going to see a stranger is considered not the way we would go about solving our problems. And also there's this whole cultural thing about saving face, about not airing out your dirty laundry in public. So there's a lot of things at play that make it difficult to seek help.
And just for our viewers' purposes, there is a bit of a delay sometimes when we have Skype, and so that's the reason for that pause there. But can you share your personal story, Lynn? I mean, was there one particular instance or difficult time you had getting to the point you are today, which is healthy?
Well, I was, for a long time, I'm an actor, and so having to look a certain way was part of the pressure to stay skinny. And being in an Asian American household, everything revolved around food. So there was this double standard of you need to eat everything I put in front of you, but you also have to stay slender and skinny. And I started writing a food blog because of it. It's called The Actor's Diet. And I was hearing from so many other Asian American women talking about their struggles with their families and how they couldn't get their families to listen to them. And because of that, Lisa Lee and I started Thick Dumpling Skin, a place specifically for Asian Americans because we felt it was missing.
Well, Lynn, and we are looking at it right now. It's called Thick Dumpling Skin. Lynn, thanks for joining the conversation with us. We appreciate your time and so much good information there on your website. I was on it this afternoon, so thank you, Lynn.
Thank you so much.
Athena, these eating disorders, taboo for certain communities. In your research and your communication with patients, I mean, why is it?
I think a lot of folks misunderstand eating disorders, and that's why I think education and reaching out to all different populations is really, really imperative.
Where's the not to stop you there, what do they misunderstand?
I think they don't understand the severity of them. Really, eating disorders are psychiatric disorder with the highest mortality rate of any other condition. So they really can be life-threatening and, of course, you know, impact all aspects of daily functioning. So I think getting that education out is really important, not only to our communities, but in addition, working with our primary care physicians so that they understand how to do screenings, how to assess, and how to triage folks from certain ethnic minority groups so we don't miss people who are really in need.
But also parents and the upbringing, right? As Lynn was talking about, in the Asian American culture, it was taboo. You should be thin. And I think about the African American culture, just speaking very generally here, curves and being full figured, that's welcomed. That's okay. You're not shunned as a little, if you were a little heavier girl. It's just part of our community. It's okay.
Absolutely.
But then maybe when you get to school, there's a different story you're hearing from your friends and adolescents.
Right. Sometimes we do see some different messages from parents than we do from peers. And what I think is important is, whilst we don't have an equation that can exactly rectify what parents can or cannot do at home to prevent eating disorders occurring, there are some things they can do to create a body-positive environment. So speaking about healthiness with your children, speaking about accepting their bodies, talking with them about their internal intrinsic characteristics that are really wonderful, are all things that are important for parents to do. And if you really do have a concern or question about your child's weight or about their eating habits, contacting a professional who can help your family walk through that.
So I'm a father to a young daughter. She's only 3, and a son who's about to be 6. But at what point do you start engaging in that conversation? Do you wait till you notice something, or do you have the conversation, you know, bring it up yourself before you even notice something?
You know, every family is different, so we defer to parents on that, but sometimes people like to do it either way. Talking about healthy body image before an issue comes up is a-okay. You know, likewise, if your family doesn't traditionally talk about those sorts of things, that's okay, but if you notice something come up, then addressing it and letting your child feel very welcomed and loved regardless of what they may be struggling with, and then of course getting your questions answered by a professional.
I do debate that, because I feel like if I bring it up, then the questions are like, why are you asking about this? Or maybe, and then she'll dive into something.
It depends on what you mean by bring it up. If you have a question about your kiddo's weight, then you might want to get some consultation about how to bring it up in a very sensitive manner that doesn't leave him or her feeling like, oh, dad doesn't like my weight, or dad thinks something's wrong with my body. So being sensitive and being mindful about how you bring it up is, of course, really important.
Because how you deal with it could change your child's life. For good, for bad, how the parents address it.
Yes, absolutely.
So much good information, Doctor.
Yes.
Dr. Athena Robinson, thank you for taking the time.
Appreciate
it. We have posted links to resources at KTVU.com, including Lynn's blog, the National Eating Disorder Association, and the Stanford University Eating Disorders Programs.